Hi everyone, it's Robin from Upstyle here to show you how to make a modified version of the Santorini Crossbody Bag. The standard version uses one piece of fabric for the exterior. For the modified version, you have two fabric panels that are sewn to a bottom trim piece, making up the exterior of the bag. The result is a super cute, versatile crossbody bag, perfect to hold just the essentials for running errands around town, meeting friends for drinks, or even date night. The materials you'll need for the modified version of the Santorini Crossbody Bag are 2 pieces of exterior fabric measuring 12 inches by 7 inches, 1 piece of cork fabric for the bottom measuring 10 inches by 5 inches, 1 piece of cork fabric for the strap and tabs measuring 11 inches by 4 inches, 1/3 of a yard of lining fabric, 1 yard of woven fusible interfacing, 1/4 of a yard of ultra firm stabilizer, 1 5.5-inch modern purse frame with chain loops, 2 1/2-inch D-rings, and 2 19-inch purse chains. You'll also need the PDF pattern, a sewing machine, an iron, and standard sewing tools like scissors and sewing clips, and you'll also need a permanent craft glue. So the first step is to follow the instructions on the pattern to print and prepare the pattern pieces. You'll basically cut them out along the outside lines and pierce holes in the patterns where indicated, which will help you transfer some of the markings later. Step 2 is to cut the fabric in the inside layers. So for the exterior of the bag, you'll need 1 piece for the bottom, which measures 10 inches wide by 5 inches, and 2 pieces for out of the exterior fabric that measures 12 inches by 7 inches. Next, just follow the layout diagrams provided with the pattern to cut out the rest of the fabrics and inside layers, which include 1 pocket trim out of the exterior fabric, 1 piece for the strap and 2 small pieces for the strap tabs, 1 piece for the pocket, and 1 piece for the lining. And the last thing is 1 piece of ultra firm stabilizer. To put together the fabrics for the outside of the bag, you want to lay your pattern piece A onto the wrong side of one of the 12 by 7 inch exterior fabric pieces, aligning the top edge of the pattern with the top edge of the fabric. Trace around the pattern, mark the dots, and cut the fabric along the outside lines. Do the same for the second piece. On the wrong side of the bottom piece, draw a line along the center lengthwise. Use this line as a guide to align the bottom edge of the pattern, piece A. Trace around the outside edges and mark the dots. Then flip the pattern around and mark the rest of the fabric. Then you would just want to cut the fabric along the outside lines. To mark the center of these pieces, fold in half and snip a small notch, or just simply measure and mark the center. You'll do the same thing for the cork fabric. With the right sides together, lay 1 exterior fabric piece onto the cork bottom, matching the center marks, and clip in place. Then you're going to sew these pieces together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When both fabric panels have been sewn to the bottom, finger press the seams toward the panels and top stitch on the fabric about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Now that the exterior fabric panels have been sewn to the bottom, double check that the piece matches the pattern. And at this point, you'll just follow the pattern without any additional modifications. To reinforce the top edges, baste between the open dots at the top on both sides. Then fold in half with right sides together and sew side seams at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. To make the gusset, or depth of the bag, open one side seam toward the bottom and adjust the fabric so that the side seam aligns with the center line on the bottom piece. Clip it in place and sew along the gusset line. And repeat this for the other side. Trim the points to about 1/8 inch from the stitching line. Okay, now it's time to work on the pocket. Mark the center line on the wrong side of the pocket trim. Fold each long edge toward the center and press in place. Fold the pocket in half wrong sides together and press to create a center crease. With the pocket unfolded and right side up, place the pocket trim piece wrong side down about 1/8 inch from the center fold and clip in place. Top stitch the trim 1/8 inch from the lower edge only. Fold the pocket in half, right sides together, and clip in place. Measure and mark a 3-inch opening at the bottom. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitch along the sides and the bottom, making sure to leave that 3 inches open at the bottom. Trim the corners at an angle and turn the pocket right side out through the opening. Use some sort of turning tool to push out the corners of the pocket. I'm using a small crochet hook here. Fold the raw edges of the opening under 1/4 inch and press thoroughly. Top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the top edge of the trim. Use pattern B as a guide to mark the wrong side of the lining. Center your pocket onto the right side of the lining. The top edge should be about 2 inches from the top of the lining. Pin in place and sew the pocket to the lining along the sides and bottom. To reinforce the top edges, baste between the open dots of the lining. Then fold in half right sides together and sew the side seams using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Next you'll sew the gusset seams like you did with the exterior fabric. Now you want to press the seams of your lining open. Also press the seams of the exterior fabric open. Turn your lining right side out and slip it into the exterior fabric bag. Clip the layers together, matching the notches and the side seams. With the layers clipped together, sew from the open dot to the pivot point, over to the side seam, up to the next pivot point, and end at the open dot. And for the other side, leave the areas between the open dots open. Trim the seam allowances along the top to about 1/4 of an inch and snip at the notches close to the stitching. It might be helpful to trim the seam allowance at the side seams a little bit smaller as well. Now you can turn the bag right side out, leaving the lining on the outside. Fold the stabilizer a bit so it can slip inside the bag. Match the center marks of the exterior to the stabilizer and fold the fabric over the stabilizer. Clip in place along the top edge, making sure the center marks are lined up. Work along the top edge, making sure the fabric is folded flat and the pivot points are clearly defined. The corners of the stabilizer should line up with the pivot points. Push the lining inside the bag and double check to make sure everything is lined up properly. And fold the raw edge of the lining along the stitching line and clip in place. Do the same thing on the other side. Sew the opening closed as close to the edge as possible. Press your bag thoroughly inside and out. To iron the exterior of the bag, I like to wrap an old paperback book with fabric. You can easily move it around as needed. Okay, it's finally time to attach the purse frame. To protect your fabric, attach a piece of tape about 3/8 inch below the top edge. This is the height of the purse frame channel. Fold the sides along the edges of the stabilizer in place. Attach another small piece of tape to one side of the purse frame. Measure and mark the tape at the center. The purse frame is 5.5 inches long, so the center is 2 3/4 inches in. Now measure and mark the tape attached to the fabric halfway across. Should be about 3 inches. Repeat these steps for the other side. Apply the glue by starting about 1/2 inch from the edge and stop again about 1/2 inch from the opposite edge, and apply it to the other side of the frame as well. Slip the top edge of the bag into the channel of the purse frame, aligning the center marks. Secure the frame in place with tape and repeat for the other side. Set the bag aside until the glue is fully set. To make the strap, use pattern piece E as a guide to mark the wrong side of the fabric. Draw a line along the center lengthwise. Next, apply a small dab of glue to the wrong side of the strap tabs and fold the sides toward the center. Slide the D-ring over the tab and fold in half. Secure with glue and clip in place. Apply a small bead of glue to the short ends of the strap. Fold the ends over 1/4 of an inch and secure with clips. Next, apply glue to the remaining outside edges. Fold the edges toward the center line and secure it with clips. Apply more glue if necessary. On one end of the strap, apply glue to the cutout area and place one of the tabs on the left side. Fold the strap in half and clip in place. The tab should be centered along the end of the strap. Then you repeat for the other side. Clip the folded edges together and then sew around all 4 sides. Sew all around the strap about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Once the glue has set, you can remove the tape from the bag. If any bits of glue remain on the purse frame, you can remove them with pieces of tape. The glue usually sticks to the tape and comes right off. To create the shape of the bag, with the clasp opened, lift up the hinges, push the sides toward the center, and snap closed. Attach one end of each purse chain to the chain loops on the frame. Then attach the opposite ends of the chains to the D-rings on the strap. This results in a 48-inch crossbody strap. And that's it! Your modified Santorini crossbody bag is finished. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. To get notified about upcoming do-it-yourself videos, don't forget to click on the thumbs up below and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. I've included details of the materials I used in the description below. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can always contact me via Etsy. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.